Good morning. I'm so sorry for being late. I had a problem with connection, but now we are live. Let me just find Renata and we can start. I'm Thais. I'm a physical therapist. I specialize in pelvic health and in the Feldenkrais method. And today we are going to be talking to Renata. Her in and let's just wait a little bit. Renata, she's an integrative health coach. Good morning.
Good morning.
I had some problems, some connection problems.
That's okay. It happens to everybody. It's normal.
How
We're all used to it.
are you doing this morning?
I'm great.
I'm so happy. Renata, like I said before, she's an integrative health coach. She's also a clean beauty expert, and she is specialized in skin, food, and respiratory allergies.
That's
So
right.
yes, in other words, she is good. She's great. And she's going to be sharing a lot of her knowledge, experience, and giving us very important tips to take care of ourselves and our health. We are going to be talking today about stress and gut health. So Renata, what is gut health?
Well, I would like to start just by doing a very quick explanation on how our gut lining works so that we understand. So it's a very thin layer of single cells that surrounds all the lining in our gut. Those cells are very, very delicate and it's very easy to disturb it. That's what we're going to talk about today. From the standpoint of health coaching, I can tell you that toxins that we breathe, the food that we eat, all kinds of pesticides, and what we're going to talk about today, stress, mostly. It's a lot of great disturb. And then sleep. Proper lack of sleep is also known to disturb the gut lining. So that gut lining is in a state of symbiosis with some bacteria, which now we know that actually we have more bacteria in our body than we have cells, which is quite incredible if you think about it. The latest research shows that, and that these bacteria are responsible for a lot of the balance that chemical balance that happens in our immune system, in our digestive system. Also, the byproducts of these bacteria also produce some neurotransmitters such as serotonin. So it's so important for us to take care of our gut and take care of it as it's the most precious thing in the world, because our mood depends on it, our digestion depends on it, our immune system depends on it, our mood, everything is connected. So it's as if like before we used to believe that the brain used to send all the signals to the body, but now we know that there's a very strong relationship with what happens in our gut also impacts a lot on how we think and feel. So
That's what
that's why we have to be very careful.
that's a very recent field in research, and they call the
Yes,
gut brain, and some people call the
yes.
microbiota gut brain relationship. Right? They are like you said before, many things affect the health of the gut, but the gut also affects. So it's a both way communication. The gut also affect our not it's not just locally. It's not restricted to digestion, but also our mood, our sense of health, of being in a calm state or being in the fight or flight state. So that communication goes both ways. Renata, so just to see if I understood, so the health of gut health is not just the health of that organ itself, but also the microorganisms that we have living there, right? That symbiosis seems to be very important.
Yes, absolutely. And then you have to understand that the better you feed your gut, the better we eat, the more diverse diet that we have, the more fruits and vegetables, the more fiber we have, the more we feed the good bacteria that we want to be helping us. Red we eat a lot of processed foods in general, refined grains, those are all things that they are going to promote the what you want, which is feed those good bacteria to take care of your health. And we call those fibers. I think everybody heard of probiotics at this point. Like kefir, miso, tempeh, sauerkraut. There's a bunch of different, they're very beneficial for us, and they're great to have because they incorporate different strains of bacteria that we would like, that are beneficial. So it's really a good idea to include those in your diet. But we also have to remember to include the prebiotics, which are fibers that will be feeding those microorganisms to do the good things for us. So if we don't give them the support, it's just kind of pointless. I mean, the bacteria that you ingest, you know, if you take a probiotic pill and then you don't do anything else about it, it's not gonna do much for you. So it's just gonna populate that for a short period of time, but it was gonna leave your body. But if you like feed it with the right things, then it will be there and it will be helping you. So there are some fibers that are specific. I brought it today, like there's some fibers that are specifically good, like good prebiotic value, which are onions, leeks, Jerusalem artichokes, which is not something that we usually have in our diet, but it's just extremely beneficial. So those are some things that are like a really good to include because they will do a great job for that. And then all fruits and vegetables, of course. And then, as I said, the more diverse, the better. The more colorful our plate, the better we're going to have for this diversity. The more diversity of food that we eat, the more diversity of bacteria that we're going to have in our gut, and the more our health is going to be supported.
So diet is a very important element in support that life that we have in the intestine. There is anything else that support that life that we can do to have more of this good bacteria to support the health of the gut? There's anything else besides diet that we can do?
Yes, absolutely. Let's not just think of diet as being, I mean, diet is extremely important, but I'll tell you from my own experience that I've had somewhat burnout syndrome at some point in my life. And that's one of the reasons why it propelled me to like seek my healing path, which led me to where I'm at today and became a health coach. So I can tell you that I thought I had it all figured out because I ate well. I thought I could push my body to the limit. I thought I could work as much as I wanted. I thought I could like go on little sleep. I thought just kept pushing myself, pushing. And at some point, it just no matter how the fact that I ate well, it actually worked against me because it kept me going for a long time, but it's not enough. Like you have to have some kind of like mental hygiene, relaxation. You have to exercise. I mean, exercise is not just a question of, oh yeah, let's exercise to, you know, look good and stuff. And yeah, everybody wants that, but it goes beyond that. There's so many studies that show how exercise can impact positively your health and your heart health and your longevity, on your brain. And so it's very, very important. And exercise doesn't have to be a strenuous exercise every day. You can break it up. You can do different things. I don't like to do the same thing every day. So one day I may do a yoga practice, then the other day I may do a Pilates practice. Now with like so many online things that we have going on with this quarantine, it's pretty easy to do. You can like diversify your workout. Sometimes I just feel like walking the dog and I just go at a fast pace. Sometimes I feel just like dancing and I just put on a song, and it's also great because it also helps with your mood. So I think like we have to think about this other things, and it's also self-care because I mean you cannot have survive with this without self-care. And also like how we sit down to eat. I think mindful eating, it's extremely important. I mean, just sit down and take a deep breath, chew your food well, have gratitude for the food that's in front of you. So many people in the world don't have that same privilege. And we got to choose what's on our plate. I mean, we're so, lucky to be in that place. And I think we should just like have that moment, make it as some sort of a ritual And again, chew very well because we can be on the go and like have so many things to do. Um, right now it's crazy. The kids at home, with a husband working from home. We've been pulled in a million directions, right? So I think that's also very important.
Yeah, it's so valuable everything that you're teaching us. So we have the probiotics. They already come with those microorganisms, and I think you told me that some people they don't change the quality of this microbiota taking probiotics. Did you? I think you told me that, right? So
Yeah, it's not about, yeah, you cannot, it's not all about taking the probiotics or ingesting probiotic food. That's one aspect of it, but you have to keep feeding those bacteria. So it's the prebiotic and the probiotic and the balance between them. It's very important.
So the prebiotic will support, we feed them, and the probiotic, they already come, because I see it when you got by, let's say, yogurt, and they say contain, and then they said like, lactobacillus, they said, they name it. But it seems to me, and I think you told me this last time, that some people, they don't change, they are taking that, but that doesn't change the quality of their microbiota. In other,
Yeah.
if you do a prebiotic, you are,
Then you change the whole game. Yeah. So sometimes, I mean, some of the new formulas that are starting to appear out there are even formulas that have both combined. I've started to see that. So I'm starting to research on those. And also I think it's important to say, like, why is our microbiome so disturbed, right? Like our Western way of life. Like, first of all, the fact that a lot of people are born with C-sections, that's one of the ways that people like already lack the bacteria that they need to like be balanced. So it creates, there's research that shows that like people that were born with from a C-section, they were not exposed to the bacteria in their mom's body. They develop a lot more allergies and they have a lot more health problems than people that don't. So that's one aspect of it. The fact that we're not in touch with the soil anymore. And even if we were, the quality of the soil is not all that anymore. So like this work in the land and touching the soil, that also brought those microorganisms to us, and it's not there anymore for us. And the fact that we use so many
wow.
cleaning products as well, so it's another thing that it disturbs.
Right,
Yeah, so
especially
they
sanitize, it has to be, we're not,
yeah, especially right now that we're like being extra clean at home. Of course, we have to be safe and we have to be mindful that there's this virus and nobody wants to catch it. But in long term, if you think about the kind of products that you use in your home, are extremely important. I think the EWG, which is the Environmental Working Group, it's an organization that came up, which I love because they have the skin deep guide and you can research any kind of personal products there and see the level of toxicity. They do all this research. They're an NGO. I love them. I consult them almost every day about something. And then now they came up with a guide that you can actually find if you go on the link on my on the bio of my profile on Instagram. You'll find I put the link there as a PDF. You can download all the cleaning products that are safe, non-toxic, and effective effective on COVID-19. So I thought that was an incredible resource. So it's something to be mindful as well. Let's not intoxicate ourselves because that also impacts our gut microbiome. We don't think of it that way. We think it's something that's external to us. We don't think that, but we absorb things through our breathing, we absorb things through our skin. So everything we put in our skin, I'm a big advocate on that. We have to be very careful.
yes, guys, I said in the beginning, but I want to highlight now, Renata, she's a clean beauty expert. So if you are interested, in chat with her about the products that you're using, she has great resource in that, great information. In your Facebook page at Beleza Orgânica.
Yes, you can follow me on my Instagram. There's also a Facebook page, and you can find all kinds of information. I'm always posting things. I mean, I talk, of course, as a health coach. I'm starting to. I used to have a business that was all about beauty. Now I'm incorporating the health coaching practice as well there, and health and information. But the truth is, I decided to become a health coach because I realized there's no such thing as beautiful skin without taking care of yourself in other ways. If you don't like meditate, if you don't exercise, if you don't eat well, there's no way you can put whatever you want in your skin, you're not going to look good. So that's the foundation of my work.
Yeah, it's great. I will So guys, it's worth to check it. She's very generous in her giving and her information. So you will see like very precious.
Thank you.
Find any other place. She's precious. Let's do. It's true. I learned so much with you. I just want to highlight something just to make a link so we can try some exercise. So we are talking. I think the twist in our take and the conversation is that yes. I won't say that most of people know that stress interferes with digestion, right? When you're stressed out, we change. So you change the movement along the digestive tract. You change the secretions that's going on in there. So you change the living place of those microorganisms. So, you know, if you change the living place, of course, you're going to change the quality or the amount of that microbiota that we have, that microorganism that we have in there. Other thing that's very important to highlight, like Renata said, the gut is a very important immune organ too. And like she said so beautifully, at birth, you know, the amount of the type, not the amount, the type of the quality of that bacteria that we have, if you were born vaginally or if you're born through a C-section, you have different kind of microbiota, and that microbiota and that immune system, they kind of develop together. And that's what Renata said before. So there you have that very important link between digestive system and immune system. So that's it. So that's from the brain down, right? I get stressed out. It changed that living place for those bacteria. So now that message that's being sent to my brain is that there is something going on, and then we get in that state that we call fight or flight, right? So this fight or flight state, with some people who like fancy words, that is called the sympathetic state, is not a state that is digestion friendly. Digestion is put on hold because at this point is understand that I have to run for my life. So digestion is put on hold. If we want to enhance digestion, we have to promote a state that's called rest and digest. And another fancy word for that, parasympathetic. So if you want to support, and that's what Renata was saying, you know, through exercise, I mean, depend on the exercise, right? If it's a very vigorous exercise, of course, you're going to put yourself in a fight or flight state. But if it's an exercise more like in the meditation or yoga or Tai Chi or Qigong, that's going to put you on the track of relaxing or bringing the system down. And that's going to put you on the rest and digest mode. So I would like to teach you a few things. Another system, I forgot to say that, another system that support this well-being, that support this calm state, rest and digest state, is a system. This is kind of brand new in terms of research, but it's a system called social engagement system. So the social engagement is this, let's say, apparatus that we have that involve the muscles of facial expression, the muscles of the voice, the structures related to the voice, and to the structure related to turning the head, to skin, my environment. So we have all this structure to get in the relationship with another human being. And through that relationship, through that human interaction, we send a message to the brain saying, it's okay, I'm fine, I'm safe. And the beauty is that the brain then sends a message to your heart saying, slow down, you're fine. Yes. And then it reduces. It's amazing, right? So we have the gut, the brain-gut system, and we also have the face-heart system. And these two systems, they work to support and to promote a state of well-being. So, you know, given the circumstance we have such a lack of human interaction, of social interaction. So I will teach you some exercise now, give you some tips to how stimulate that system so we can have those messages being sent. So the first exercise, it is with the tongue. And like I said on our live in Portuguese, I love this work with the tongue because it's such, it's part of the digestive system, but it's also part of the social engagement system. So you have this structure that covers both. It's right there in the middle. And the exercise,
Wow.
it's great. Let's do it.
Okay.
So the idea is that you're gonna touch the surface of your tooth one at a time with your tongue. You start from the inside because it's easier, right? It's less, require less range. So you touch with your tongue and you're sensing the surface. So it's very important not to go through the motions. Like Renata said before, we want that kind of exercise that's going to calm the system down. So every time you bring awareness into the exercise, every time you feel what you're doing,
I'm doing it. I'm doing it as a speak. Yeah.
But every time you bring awareness into exercise, you start working in a language that the brain kind of, oh, okay, I'm safe here, right? And you can feel this. It's a very high level of functioning. So feel the surface of one tooth, and then you move to the next, and then you move to the next, and then you move to the next, and you go doing one by one. Once you are done with the inside, you go to the outside. And then you go one by one, and then you go to the lower part, inside and outside. To be very honest, I never finished because I found this so relaxing that by the time I get halfway through my mouth, I'm kind of already put to sleep. So very relaxing. Also, it relaxes the lips.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You do feel like sort of tingling the lips, sort of like the lips and the mouth. You can see definitely activate something here.
Yes, and relax.
Sure.
Jaw is a place that we hold so much tension. We have the expression tight lips,
Absolutely.
right? That, you know, it's so, and also talk about
Which makes you look older. Nobody wants that.
the plus, the other side.
You want to be relaxed.
That's the plus of it. That is a reward, like a very good side effect of it. You do
Yes.
younger because you kind of take all that. Just think it's a kind of a minor Botox because you are relaxed.
Love it. I'm going to be incorporating that in my daily yoga facial exercises. I think that'll be a great tool.
Good. It's good. It's good for your heart. It's good for your face. It's good. So the other exercise I like to do with the eyes, right? This is such a way that we communicate with people, that we get into connection, right? So again, being deprived these days. And what the idea is, and I'm going to pull my chair back a little bit so you can see more of me. You can see probably more of my body. Not that much, maybe a little bit more. Here it is. Can you still hear me well?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So the exercise is you're going to start to scan the environment. You're going to your eyes start the exercise, and make sure, this is the tricky part when we think we are doing what we are being asked to do, but we are not. The eyes can skip very fast. So make sure that you are scanning the environment. Now we are all Superman and Wonder Woman. Now, Wonder Woman doesn't have an infrared, but let's say that we do. So you will see that line, that infrared, and you can be tracing a line with your eyes. Make sure you don't skip, because this is, you know, and especially it's so linked to our habit that we can do it without even noticing. So you want to scan your environment, and then you let your face go with it, and your shoulders and your rib cage and your pelvis, even your ankles. You will feel that you start to move one forward, one back. Then you come back scanning, and then you do the same to the other side. It's very relaxing, and it's
relaxed. I'm already getting too relaxed here. You do feel the effect on the eyes immediately. That's for sure.
Again, another area very important.
This area, right? That's usually very tense when we use the computer too much and the screen a lot. Yeah.
At your face, right? So you have no range. You don't project it's right there. So it's very linked to survival, the ability, an animal that cannot scan the environment, it's an animal that's more vulnerable. So preserve, also it frees up the neck, right? So you kind of have a combo there. And that is also a plus because it does relax and smooth it out some of the expression lines that we have around.
Love this.
I know, it's
amazing. It's so cool that like something that's related to our survival, right? Like it's something that's being impaired right now, that it's so important to have this conscience, right? We don't realize if we're not seeing the horizon, if we're not going out, we're not seeing many places out. I mean, sometimes we're only limited to walking around the block or something, and that's definitely, yeah. And then everybody gets a little crazy and they don't understand why.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons why we are impaired on our mobility, right?
Yes, yes, and this is also, so just the lack of, of social interaction, it's already put us in a position in which a stress response can emerge, right? Just by being deprived of that, then you add this, the stresses that we are adding. So I mean, it is a very rough moment. So self-care is a must at this point. And of course, we do what we can, like you said before. It's so many things going on, but a little scanning, it can be done standing. If you're standing and you just same thing, you just start doing your scanning, stop a little bit, scanning one or the other, and then you keep going with your life. I mean, it's really tips that I think we are giving that you can incorporate into your daily routine.
Yeah, it's not hard at all. So just to take a break, take a water break, and then you're gonna go to the bathroom, and then just do a little exercise before you sit down to go on working or something. It's totally doable.
Guys, that is an answer here that I would like to respond. Do you want me to answer that now, or Renata, do you want it before answering, opening for questions?
Yeah, I think the only thing that people are probably like, because people have tips, I just want to like give a couple more things just in terms of your diet, like if you want to be specific things, because we know when we talk about eating well, sometimes people are like, okay, but it's kind of abstract, right? But one thing that I can tell is that when we're stressed out, we get very depleted on our vitamins B. Get very depleted on all the minerals in our body usually, because it's all this oxidation, this free radicals going on that they pretty much use up all our reserve of those. So it's very good to try to incorporate in your diet a few things that could be like some kind of superfoods and some things that could bring you a lot without too much effort. So I made a little list here. So I figured apricots are excellent because they have a ton of magnesium and vitamin C, so eating a couple of dried apricots, sometimes if you're craving something sweet, it could be a great idea, and you bring that into your diet. Avocados are stellar in every way. I mean, they have so much potassium on them, also rich in vitamins B. So I think it's a great idea to include that as well. Bananas, obviously, because not only they have the potassium, which is great, but they're also rich in tryptophan, which is a precursor for serotonin. So be mindful of that, which helps you sleep and helps you relax. So very important to eat bananas.
Yeah.
I post on that the other day, because like vitamin C, only lemons and like citrus fruit is rich in vitamin C. Yes, they are, but like there are other vegetables that are rich in vitamin C, such as broccoli. Broccoli is super rich in vitamin C. It's pretty easy. Like with a serving of broccoli, you can get pretty much your daily intake of vitamin C. So it's a way to add a bioavailable source of vitamin C. I think it's also a good idea. As far as inflammation goes, which is also something that happens when we're stressed out, I think increasing your omega-3 sources, it's also a good idea. So really quick, just my favorites are like flax seeds and chia seeds. And if you eat animal protein, wild salmon, please wild salmon, not farm salmon, because it comes with a lot of problems. That's also a good idea. And I also want to talk about and just add tons of herbs. I mean, garlic, everybody knows that garlic is good for immunity, but it's also a tonic. It also helps with fatigue. So it goes along just boosting the immunity. And it also helps balance the cortisol. So use as much garlic as you can at once, and you can get a hands on. And also like all kinds of herbs have some kind of antiviral, antibacterial, and immune boosting properties. So thyme, oregano, rosemary, ginger as well. So like, let's just try to incorporate all those things into because not only will make our food more delicious, but it's also another way to add a layer of extra protection and everything. Of course, some people like to use those in aromatherapy, which is also a good idea, but you kind of have to know what you're doing. So I'm a little wary of that. And the other thing, vitamin D, guys, please, sun exposure is the best way to get vitamin D. 15 minutes a day without sunscreen. Wear the sunscreen for the rest of the day. I wear sunscreen every day on my face mostly, but I always make sure that I'm exposing most of my body outside for 15 minutes. The weather, it's spring now, the weather is starting to look nice. Let's do that because it's the best way. And let's not take showers right away, because you need to wait until it actually absorbs into your skin. So you have to let it get a little red, and then you wait at least half an hour to an hour before you take a shower, because then you let that sink in and really absorb it and to convert into vitamin D into your body. Yeah, it's kind of controversial, tip, because people are like, oh my God, you can be in the sun because, you know, like, you have to be, everybody's stressed out about skin cancer. But guess what? If you don't get enough vitamin D and sun exposure, you also get skin cancer. You can always get skin cancer. So
you're not going at midday, and you know you can take that morning or that end of the afternoon.
no, actually, Thais, no, the best time to get a sun exposure for vitamin D around 12 for 15 minutes.
Really?
Everybody, we always have this knowledge of like, oh, let's do it in the morning, let's do it at night. No, if you see all the functional doctors that do deep research into this topic, they all talk about getting exposure of vitamin D around when the sun is most strong. And then you do it for a very little period of time. It could be 10, 15 minutes, 20, depending on how your skin sensitivity. But it's when you feel like it's getting red, that's when you get to the right point. And then you just stay for a little bit longer and then you leave. And that's enough for the day. And you don't have to be in the sun anymore if you don't want to, or cover yourself up the rest of the day. Put like the long sleeve UV shirts.
Renata,
splatter yourself.
if you know that, I grew up by the beach. I grew up by the beach between 7 and 24 years. You know, I was always on the beach, and I grew up with that belief, you know, that after 9 o'clock, between 10 and 4, you should not be exposed to the sun. So that's such a mind-blowing information. Like, see what I'm saying? She's very generous. She's giving us all this.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, but you know what? The knowledge comes from like actually from the standpoint of aging on the skin and UVA and UVB exposure. Yes, in the morning and at night they are lower. So if you're talking about protecting your skin against so you don't have skin cancer, so you don't have spots like sunspots on your face, those aging spots. If you want to prevent that, yes, you should try to avoid the midday sun. But this is like a medicinal thing. You just do it for the vitamin D, and then you get out of the sun.
And in just 15 minutes, like you said. Wow.
Yeah. Wow. Very short period of time. So that's what I wanted to bring. And also, guys, water, like it's never too much. There's no such thing as too much water. I try to incorporate with tea. That's why I'm always drinking tea, because I love, not only I drink water, but I drink tea as well, because then you have the benefit of you have the benefit of the tea combined with the liquid. So, and you're like boost your intake. And if everybody has difficulty drinking water, guys, I highly recommend getting like some kind of reusable bottle or cup like this, so that you know how much water is in it, and then you know how many you have to drink per day. So you need to do, let's say, if this is like a 16 ounce, I know I want to fill that up at least 4 times per day, so that I get like enough water. And if I'm not drinking tea, I know I have to drink that water. So you kind of have to be a little cerebral about it, especially because we're out of our routine. Some people are working from home, and then you usually drink more water when you're at the office and you're sitting down and you have your water at your desk. But now you're at home and everything's kind of discombobulated with our routine. But it's important to like keep up with the water. I think it's important. And sleep, guys. Let's try to, I mean, if you're exhausted like I am, like I don't know if you guys are like going through what I'm going through, I believe you are, just make bedtime early, guys. Just say, Mommy's tired today, guys. I'm gonna go to bed early. Let's say today it's gonna be half an hour early. And guess what? You can implement that, and this way you have 1 extra hour to do some self-care, take care of yourself, take a long shower, do some meditation, do a quick yoga practice, I don't know, do something for yourself, or do anything, just relax, do a puzzle, like read a book or something. That's all self-care, so it's very important this time.
Excellent. Thank you, Renata. So there's this question here that I thought was so interesting, and actually someone else asked, last time also asked me about breathing exercise that I didn't mention. And then this question is, are there any breathing exercise to boost your immune system? I thought that was a genius question. And so just to start with, there are a lot of breath work out there, and good breath work. So that is something that you're already practicing, you know, keep going with that. And you just need to know, what do you want? If you want to relax, there's breath work for that. If you want something more active, there's also breath work for that. So let me wrap up. So I said that the question is about breathing exercise to support immune system. And then I said that immune system, digestive system work together. If you want to support immune system, you support digestion. We also learned that digestion happen and is supported by a state of calm, like a parasympathetic state. So if you want support digestion, you have to bring your body to this rest and digest parasympathetic mode, right? Now, what kind of breathing is going to bring you there? What kind of breathing is going to bring you to, is going to promote a rest and digest mode? So that is a breathing that we call diaphragmatic. Okay, is when most of your breathing it's done by the work of the diaphragm. Okay, this muscles that we have right here, right in the middle. Okay, this is round muscle in the middle. And then we hear that very often. Oh, take a deep breath. I see that all the time. Take a deep breath, and you see people doing this.
Mm-hmm.
Right? When you breathe like this, then when you inhale, you expand your chest, you're not breathing diaphragmatic. We are breathing what we call, that's a paroxysmal breathing. That breathing, when you have to lift the top ribs and use that, that's a breathing that happens. That kind of structure comes in more in a fight or flight mode. Okay? So if you want to promote calm, you're gonna breathe diaphragmatic. I'm gonna push my chair back a little bit. Maybe I can just stand up. So it's a type of breathing. Then when you inhale, you can put your hand on your abdomen. Your abdomen get expand. You expand the abdomen, not the chest. So imagine that is a balloon, right? So the diaphragm descend, and what happened to the sides? If you press the top of the balloon, the sides are going to expand. So when you inhale, you expand your abdomen, you exhale and let it go. Seems very easy, but some people have when I work one-on-one, takes a while to get that going. So I will teach you some tips, okay? One is put your hand there and feel the movement. So now you have the feedback from your hand. If your hand there, like, I'm still not feeling anything, I'm not sure. So you're going to do a sound of a SH when you exhale. So it's going to be you inhale, expand your abdomen, exhale, and do
Just like a balloon. Yeah.
yes. You feel your abdomen pulling in when you exhale, and then it's going to spring right back up when you inhale. Okay, yeah. So using the SH is going to help. If you want to give a little bit extra, that you purse your lips as you do. That's going to create some resistance in the airway. It's going to make you slow down your breathing too. So the two combine, and again, involving the lips, relax the mouth. See how things try to feed into each other? Yeah.
I think it's so valuable that you're saying that, Thais. You know why? Because I think a lot of women have a tendency to like wanting to suck in the belly.
Yes.
To look good, because we're like, as society, we're supposed to have all this pressure of like looking good, and you don't want to walk around with your belly hanging out. Like, it's very, as if people didn't have babies, as if women are supposed to be like a negative, -0 belly. There's no such thing. Everybody has one.
Yeah, we call the core myth. That's the core myth. And look, this is a live that we have to do about, okay, how do I don't inhibit my breathing, but I also don't want that belly hanging out. So this is a conversation that involves pelvic floor. This is a conversation that involves
deep. We have to do a live about that.
Yes. So we can definitely do something like that, and it is linked to looking good. It's like, but doing the right way. Okay, you don't want look good and then be on a fight or flight mode because your breathing is happening all up here. Okay?
Yeah, you have to teach us that, Thais. We need you. I mean, and then also it happens to me sometimes. Like when I notice that I'm breathing here, and I start to get even more anxious. I'm more not the opposite of relaxed. I guess. It's a vicious cycle. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, let's do it. This next one, pelvic floor, core.
Wow, we definitely want to learn to suck it in and do the right breathing. Wow, we need to do that.
Let's do it. So thank you so much for everybody. Renata, do you want to say anything else for us to close? Because we do have to go.
Yeah, we do have to go. I think we covered everything. If anybody needs to know anything, I was already telling them on the previous live. I'm going to repeat that since we did this one. So if anybody like catches on just on this one, you might want to visualize the previous one. Guys, follow me on Beleza Orgânica, and you can DM me about any questions if you have any questions. And also I invited them to my group, my Facebook group. It's called Feel Great in Your Skin. So if you go to Facebook and search Feel Great in Your Skin, that's my group where I'm like giving daily tips on like how to boost your immunity. That's my way to like give back to the community. And that's what I'm doing right now to like help people out. That's what I can do as a health coach. So I think that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for having me. I loved it. I hope we can save these files and put it online somewhere, even if it's YouTube or somewhere. Let's see the technical stuff afterwards. We'll figure it
It's
out. Never really
so
felt
great.
so good.
Yes, if you want to know more of my work, please feel free to call to write to me. No, don't call me. Write an email.
Don't call. Don't call.
Don't call me because it's chaotic. Kids running in the background and screaming with this profession. But I do have a video that's very interesting that touched what we talk. It's called I think it's called how it's on my IGTV, how anxiety, pelvic floor, and posture are related. So I break down some of those things. And there is the other one called the body pattern of anxiety that I also explain about this breathing and how breathing diaphragmatic. So thank you so
You
much.
too.
You,
Oh,
Renata.
and what about your you forgot to say about your that you have a course this week coming up.
Right. I have a workshop that I'm going to start teaching through the University of Texas in Austin, UT. If you go to UT informal classes, I will be teaching Feldenkrais method to reduce anxiety and stress. And it's going to be
That's
all
perfect right now.
doing delicious things, rolling around and letting it go and support ourselves in this. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It was great.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.